These are officers of the United States Navy. In the autumn of 1946, they were sent to look inside coal miners' houses. The order is one paragraph. Section 5 of an agreement signed on the 29th of May, 1946, between the federal government and the United Mine Workers of America. A comprehensive survey and study of the hospital and medical facilities, medical treatment, sanitary and housing conditions in the coal mining areas. The staff had an engineer, a doctor, an advisor on sanitation, an advisor on recreation, and one more, a documentary photographer, to make a photographic record of observable conditions in coal mining communities. The personnel list gives his name, Mr. Russell W. Lee. In September of 1946, he came to Harlan County, Kentucky, and stayed about 2 weeks. One note before we go in: the color is not original. Lee worked in black and white. These frames were colorized by a machine learning model. Every color is that model's estimate, not the record. The originals are free to anyone at the National Archives. The report explains why Harlan was on the list. In a few counties, it says, the ratio of miners to all employed workers runs over 75%. Harlan County, Kentucky, where it is 87%. Of every 100 working men in the county, 87 went underground. The coal came out on rails and went over the tipple where it was weighed and where a man's day became a number. Lee spent most of his 2 weeks in one camp, Lejunior, up a hollow east of the town of Harlan. The houses belonged to the coal company. So did the ground under them, the community store and the office. Both of them the company's. His caption on the restaurant down the road is careful to say it. This is not on company property. The grade school drew from about 8 coal camps in the vicinity. It was built with WPA funds, federal money, not company money. And a few miles off, houses owned and rented privately by Mrs. S.E. Bennett, who owned the Bonito mine. In Lejunior, Lee found a coal loader named Blaine Sergent. The caption on this frame runs to 50 words. He dresses in clean clothing early in the morning, turns on the radio for some music to start the day. He eats breakfast, and then about 6 o'clock he says to his wife, Rhoda, "Hand me my bank clothes." And he dresses and goes to the mine. The short pole in his right hand is used to provide extra support as he walks bent over in the mine. He had been a coal miner for 48 years, putting up his check at the end of the day's work. That day he had loaded 17 tons of coal, the sign chalked on the sand dryer. Miners bring in their checks and see the sign that there is no Saturday work. This mine seldom works over 5 days weekly, resting on his front porch before taking his bath. Saturday, third in line at the pay window. And afterward, the porch of the company store. Talking and visiting, Lee wrote, was not only his major recreation, but the one in which he took the greatest pleasure. His wife was 46. The caption states without comment that she had given birth to 14 children. 6 were living at home. Lee added a line to this frame that tells you exactly what he expected to be accused of. Conversations with other people in the camp determined that this was a normal condition and was not done for the photographic purposes. The breakfast dishes freshly washed. Wanda Lee hands her sister an ice cream cone through the opening between the porch and the living room, and the caption records what that opening was. No screening of windows nor doors is supplied by the company. There was no tap in the house. Water came from outside, and carrying it was a child's job. Bobby Jean, 4, goes with Lucy, 26, who is blind, to get water. On Sundays, the 2 married sons came home to eat. The men went off into the woods to play poker, shoot craps, hunt squirrel. Reading from left to right, Franklin D., Louis, Lucy, Mr. Blaine Sergent, Bobby Jean, Mrs. Sergent, Wanda Lee, and Donald. Lucy Sergent was 26 and had been blind since birth. She attended the Kentucky State School for the Blind for 11 years and graduated from high school there, which made her the most educated person in the house. Although she has been totally blind since birth, Lee wrote, she is exceedingly adept at household tasks, getting water, with the guidance of her younger sister, dusting, washing clothes and dishes. Great devotion and family feeling among the parents and children in this family was evident. The older children helped the youngsters with their lessons. And on Sunday school at the Pentecostal Church of God. 2 of the boys were at the age where the county decided things. Lee wrote both futures down in the same week. Louis was 16 in his first year of high school. The tallest boy in the sport jacket catching the bus into Evarts. With the exception of his blind sister, Lucy, he is the first member of the entire family to complete grammar school. Both he and his father are determined that he will get his high school diploma and not work in the mines. Franklin D. was 13 and in the 5th grade. He doesn't like school, Lee wrote, and is anxious for the day when he can quit and go to work in the mines. He was one of 39 pupils in that grade. Sledding home the household coal. The company charged $2.80 a month for coal a miner hauled himself. $1.50 a ton if the company hauled it. The oldest brother had already answered the question. Rufus did not like school and quit before finishing grade school. He went to work in the mines 10 years ago when he was 13 years old. He is now a cutter. At 23, he had a wife and a son. And here is the survey's actual subject. Donald Sergent visits Dr. Brooks' office with a bruised foot. The medical fee at this company is $2.50 a month for a married man. Lee stayed through a Sunday. The Baptist church was not on company property and was built by the miners. The pastor of the Pentecostal Church of God was a man named Eli Sanders. 6 days a week he was a tipple worker and track loader at the same mine as everybody else in this film. On the 7th, his congregation handled serpents. Most of the members are coal miners and their families. Lee's caption offers an explanation, and it is worth hearing as his opinion, not as fact. This coal camp offers none of the modern types of amusement, and many of the people attend more for the mass excitement than because of belief in the tenets of this church. Lucy and some of the children went. Mr. and Mrs. Sergent were not members. They talked about the ceremonies with a sort of awed curiosity, but took no part. And their father spent his Sunday the way the caption said he liked best. Then Lee moved to a bigger camp, Kenvir, across the county, owned by the Black Mountain Corporation. Here the captions turn into arithmetic. Foreman Currington had 6 rooms, which rented for $15 a month, 7 children and 3 grandchildren, in addition to Mr. and Mrs. Currington. There are 5 beds in this home. 1 for Mr. and Mrs. Currington, 1 for 2 grown boys, 1 for 2 grown girls, 1 for 4 little boys, and 1 for 2 middle-sized girls. 12 people in 6 rooms. The laundry hung in the kitchen. Notice drainage in street. The caption says, "That is the survey talking, not the photographer." Row of privies. Third from the left is that used by the Furman Currington family. Across the whole survey, 2,028 houses were inspected. 75% of them had privy, and only a relatively small percentage were considered able to meet authoritative standards. Virgil Price had lived here 12 years, 4 children, 2 beds, $10 a month. Electricity is extra. Running water is outside on the porch. His wife draws a bucket of water. Notice drainage system for this water. This one the survey wrote down exactly as it found it. Mrs. Virgil Price peels a head of lettuce in garbage pile adjacent to privy. Murray Price, 4 rooms, $10 a month. They have running water inside. In this camp that was worth recording. His child asleep on the couch where he normally sleeps at night. 6 people sleep in these 2 beds. One larger boy is missing in picture. Mrs. Robert Moffett, $10 a month. 3 children, a mother-in-law and a brother-in-law in addition to the Moffetts. Call Ruth, Minor, and his family, also $10 a month. And a union man came through. G.W. Hall, district field worker, given the oath to miners joining the United Mine Workers. Kenvir had a company doctor. This is Dr. R.S. Howard giving an injection to a miner named James E. Lee for his asthma. And a company hospital. Dan Moore receiving a visit from family members. He has a double hernia. Hugh Pierce with a broken leg caused by slate fall in mine September 4th. The survey team arrived on the 6th. Jack Anderson, who suffered fractured spine in slate fall 28 months ago, and an X-ray machine in a hospital owned by the company. On the 19th of September, Lee drove to Lynch, same county, owned by United States Steel, a grade school. A country club open to all employees of the company where dances were held for miners' children every Saturday night, and a hospital with a reception room, treatment room, where new men were examined before they were hired, X-ray equipment, a delivery room, and an operating room in the same county in the same 2 weeks as the row of privies at Kenvir and the water bucket at Lejunior. That distance is the report's whole argument. 23 years earlier, the United States Coal Commission had described these same houses. The 1947 report quotes that description at length and then says it still fits. If it is custom and tradition that mine families shall exist in squalor, it is time for that custom and tradition to be abolished. The agreement that ordered this survey had also created a welfare and retirement fund for miners and a medical and hospital fund. These photographs were the evidence gathered for them. Admiral Boone sent the report to the Secretary of the Interior in March of 1947. The importance of our report, he wrote, has required stern self-discipline and a determined insistence that it be factual.